Hello, everybody. It's Rob Scott here from UC Today, and today I am joined by Ross Williams, Chief Operating Officer from Virsae. Welcome, Ross.
Thanks very much for having me, Rob.
No, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. And thanks for getting up so early. So I know you're you're up early. I'm up late, but I know you're in New Zealand right now, and I'm in the UK. So we'll see how this goes. But today we're going to delve into the world of service management and look at how Virsae are using AI to revolutionize the industry and the solutions that you offer. So thanks for joining me. Ross, can we start by, a little bio, tell us a little bit about where you've come from and also what Virsae do?
Okay. Well, I've been around the UC environment right since the beginning. So my daughter actually refers to me as the UC OG, so original gangster, going back quite a number of years. So yeah, that's my background, and I guess through various businesses. So I obviously started out from school as an engineer, and worked through my career and got the opportunity with some partners to form a business partner in 1999, which we did do. Our business partners, probably the largest and most successful in the Australasian marketplace today, still trading. We've had a couple of spin-offs over the years. So one of our spin-offs actually created an application called Contact Center Express, which was purchased by Avaya in 2009. They took the code, but not the people. So once we completed that transaction, we got together and looked at what to do next and what challenges were facing people in the use environment, and opportunity to create service management. And that was really based around the challenges our business partner was having. And also the convergence was really driving it. So what was voice and a separate discipline run by telecom teams was very rapidly becoming a IT discipline. The applications the manufacturers were producing ran on industry standard servers. We're running on shared networks that weren't real time. They were no longer TDM, they were IP networks. And that created support challenges for business partners and customers alike. So what we saw the need to do there was to create a service management application that really took IT best practice. It's been around since the 60s, really, to take that IT best practice and apply it to the world of unified comms. And there's a real gap in the marketplace that simply wasn't being done by anyone. We also took, when we formed that business, so that business is called Virsae, and the service that we offer is called Virsae Service Management. We also took the opportunity at that point to host that application in Azure and build a truly cloud application from the ground up. So what we've done is not an enterprise application. It is an application that's born in the cloud and made for the cloud. And in fact, that's opened up this huge opportunity for us in terms of big data analytics, machine learning, and AI, and ultimately AI. And it makes us very different from everyone else that's in this market space.
That's great, Ross. And for the folks watching or listening to this session today, could we just give us a real whistle-stop tour of service management and the main features and benefits that organizations can enjoy if they were to look at a solution like this?
Okay, so service management, we went with a standard called ITIL, which actually originates out of the UK, but it's got a huge amount of traction around the world. And that's used by IT teams to manage their environment. So there's things like configuration management, which is understanding everything that's in your environment as a starting point. And that rolls into capacity management. So all of those assets, or in ITIL terms, they're known as configuration items, all of those assets that we discover, they've all got limitations in terms of their capability to handle traffic or whatever their role is. So that's where capacity management comes in, and we measure all of the capacities and consumption metrics around those configuration items. And then we also roll into availability management, which is, in an ITIL world, it's not a matter of up or down. Excuse me. It's not a matter of whether an interface is up or down. It's more about what is the customer experience. So ITIL, funnily enough, being quite a mature standard, was onto the whole customer experience point of view and user experience point of view well before it's become fashionable, really. So ITIL drives the quality of your services, your IT services you're providing, puts the assessment of that quality in the hands of your end users. So things like in a UC environment, things like the quality of experience. So an inbound caller to a contact center, did they get the music and the treatments and the queue position that they were meant to get? Did they get to the next available agent based on what the contact center management intended? As well as overlaying on that the voice quality experience. So, did music play? Was it clear? When the session was ultimately connected to an agent, could they both hear each other and transact correctly? So ITIL really does lend itself to UC very, very well. It's a perfect fit.
Yeah, that's great. No, thanks for that. And so let's jump on to the real kind of focus of this session today, and that's around AI. And you, when we first spoke, you said 2020 will see the emergence of virtual engineers, and I found that fascinating. That one statement, coming from an engineer, I have a very similar background. I was engineering phone systems back 20 years ago. So I'm really interested to know where we're going with this, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers or listeners are equally as interested. So tell me about what's happening this year and why you believe 2020 will be the year for the virtual engineer.
Right. Well, we're very well positioned to, as I said, with architecturally being in the cloud and running a DevOps organization. So every 2 weeks there is a sprint cycle for us, and a new version of application is published. And when that goes live, it goes live for every user in the world. So we have thousands of sites under management, millions of endpoints, and we in fact look at billions of individual pieces of data every month pour into our cloud computing system. So we're perfectly positioned with AI, machine learning, to press ahead with that. And we've been doing that for a number of years now, and we've got some live demonstrations I can run for you in a little bit. But the challenge for our organisation really has been, one of them has been getting people to understand what AI is and what it can do for you. The thing is with the machine learning side, I mean, that's an ongoing thing where our analytics capability gets better and better, even without us doing anything. So our job really is to expose that more and more to our customers and our business partners so that they can consume that. And what we discovered is even though we have a high degree of AI capability right now, people aren't even sort of realizing that it's there to help. And this year we're really planning to really expose that and bring forward the human side of that.
You're leveraging machine learning capabilities within the kind of realms of AI, is that correct?
Right.
And we've got all this data, haven't we? And if I'm picturing this, you've got a cloud, you're managing billions of minutes of calls and all these endpoints. If you plug machine learning into that, you can start really pulling out some insights from that data.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Right.
Going.
I'll give you an example. Right. So we pick up around about it's about 12 billion individual pieces of data per month right now, and that number grows at 3 to 4% per month. So that's the rate of new customers coming on board and existing customers expanding and so forth. So the growth rate of the company is actually it's huge. It's 40% plus. And we've been growing like that for about 5 years now. So you did right. We get a huge amount of information, and when you think of it in ITIL terms, so for example, we look at a interaction with a customer, an inbound call to a contact center. When you overlay on top of that the sort of the cradle to grave visibility we get of that, so we understand as that customer goes through that experience, the technical resources that are being used in the background. So each one of those technical resources that are touched because of our ITIL approach, we understand the configuration of each one of those technical resources that goes, as the customer journey happens. So when you look at the overall resulting customer experience, and you understand all of the configurations and all of the bandwidth and all of the resource consumption behind there. And this is where the machine learning comes in to pick up upon the patterns. And you look at that across, we're roughly doing 600 million calls per month at the moment. When you look at that across that massive estate, you can come back to your end user customers, you can come back to your business partners and say, when this particular poor experience happened, it is because of this individual component, and it's because of these settings on this individual component that you've got a problem. So we have that capability today. It's there. It's in our cloud computing service, and it's kind of consumed through your normal screen, your normal keyboard. Customers like to have the drill down capability on dashboards, but in fact, and we do that, of course, because we respond quite well to market demand. But the real problem is actually the UI. So if you can humanize that UI and make it much more like a human, it's much easier for people to consume, and it's quite stunning what the difference is. So, for example, I'll show you what we've got here, which is it's an Amazon bot, third generation, and we've skinned that with the Via branding because we give these things away. It's what we do at the trade show and as incentives to give us NPS scores and all that sort of stuff to respond to those surveys. So we give them away. I'll just give you a little example.
We might need to be careful when you say hello Alexa, because I've got one right in front of me as well. So we might get two Alexas talking, but let's see how we go.
We'll see how we go. So Alexa, run service management.
There is no incoming call. Welcome to service management.
What's the status of my system health?
Your ACM status is critical. 4 of 4 port networks are okay. 11 of 21 media gateways are down. The active server has no major alarms. Processors are okay. Server hardware is okay.
What's my trunk utilization?
34 of 539 trunks are in use.
How is my system health?
You are running 14 servers, with an average uptime of 99.96% over the last 30 days. Your longest outage was less than 5 minutes, and your average response time is 1 millisecond.
How was my voice quality yesterday?
Yesterday I processed 27,595 streams. Less than 0.1% of all streams had a MOS below 3.6. Peak traffic occurred at 3:08 a.m., with 2,992 concurrent streams.
What is the cause of my poor voice quality?
The majority of poor voice quality occurred where DSCP was stripped, where traffic was routed through IPNR 0, or through Layer 3 device 10.60.138.1.
So that last one was, that's a great example where, there's a very common issue is poor voice quality on, when you're running audio across IP networks. So it's a great example of what automation and AI machine learning does for you, because people can spend, even with a great capability within the IT team, there is so much data to analyze, and for people to do that manually. What we've simply done there with our machine learning and AI capability is do what engineers do, and we compare good scenarios with bad scenarios within a customer. So you can see right there, that can take engineers literally weeks to arrive at that information. So DSCP, which is the DivServ header, which prioritizes voice traffic, it's being stripped by a router, and it even gave us the IP address of that router. And it's simply done by analyzing every single stream. So those hundreds of millions of streams that we see now coming into us from our customer base, looking at all of the resources that are involved in those streams and that interaction, understanding the configuration of those, working out exactly what's wrong, and then ultimately pointing the finger.
That's very impressive. It was really impressive. I mean, there was nothing wrong with my system at this end. I'll just add my Alexa, just for the record, jumped in there and said there was no call. But your demo was absolutely perfect, and I'm really impressed with that. So not only is it, coming through a voice assistant like an Amazon Echo, but it's actually making sense. And you could have that over your morning coffee as an IT guy, couldn't you? In the help desk, for example, or wherever you need it, that data is available, and it could potentially come out of a voice assistant or on a screen, I take it. So
yes, so it's it demonstrates very well. And as I say, as soon as you put this into human terms with a human type interaction, it's much easier to consume. So that information is available today to all of our customers. It's very simple. It's very simple. So we created this Alexa skill, and all it does is read dashboard information. So it's there. That's there. But it makes it very, very much easier to interact with and to understand. And the extension to this, and this is what we're working on now, is we also have, of course, the automation side. And a lot of people kind of confuse AI with automation. Automation scripting has been around for decades. Everyone's got that.
Yeah.
But if we now overlay on top of that the ability to fix that problem. So again, going back to our iTool capability, and this is all change management is baked into Virsae service management. Where we're taking this is the next step, as we say to Alexa, via this UI, will fix the problem. So normal change management in a normal enterprise is you assemble all of the information. You might have a manufacturer might have a correction notice or whatever. You assemble all that information and you submit it for a change request. So that capability is all already there and already driven. There's a framework within VSM to do that, for humans to do that. But we've got the capability to allow the AI engine to do that. This is what we're working on right now. So the AI engine fills out the change request. Of course, that goes to a change approval board where they tick the boxes and look at the various impacts and everything. And funnily enough, a change window is opened up, and normally the change window, particularly when humans are involved, the change windows are like 1 or 2 in the morning to make a change. That's only done at 1 or 2 in the morning because we want to minimise the impact on our traffic and on our external customers and internal customers. But you take that time window away and say, and you can do this with automation and AI, of course, is do this change when there is going to be no impact. So that might be in the middle of the day. You may want to force that to be in the middle of the night, just like humans. But the reality is the outcome you want is you don't want to have any impact on your existing traffic. So you can say, well, schedule this change for a time when it's going to be no impact. And of course, when you're dealing with an AI engine, of course, process is always going to be followed as well, which is what humans don't necessarily do. So the AI engine will then go through, make the change, and then it will make an assessment of the effects of that change, just like you should under due process. Did that change work? Yes or no? Or did it even have detrimental effects? And if it's been detrimental, you need to immediately roll back. But either way, if it's a failed change and roll back, or if it's a successful change and move forward, you're going to go back to the CAB, the change approval board, and say, yes, we've completed that change, and this is the effects it had, and we've now got it under observation for the next week or so. So all of that can be automated. So you and I both know what it's like to get up at 2 and 3 in the morning and do things in the dead of night. Automation can take that part of it, that part of the role away from us. But we still need humans to make decisions on business impact and take the higher level decisions away from the AI side.
I was going to say that there's always that elephant in the room, isn't there? Where I've got to ask the question: is it going to replace engineers? The human engineers, and you've already answered the question, so it isn't. It's really
it's going to make engineers better.
Of course.
You can start looking at rather than the granular stuff and the actual doing. Getting away from that and looking at the true impacts, and myself included, as an engineer, there's nothing you like better than to get your head above water, to sort of surface and be able to take a breath and look around and go, now really what should I be doing to be proactive and really improve things around here, rather than being stuck in the weeds all the time. And that's really what AI does for you.
Yeah, I'm really impressed, Russ. It's a fantastic application of machine learning technology to solve a real problem, that's in these organizations, engineers making them more efficient, more productive, and self-healing and dealing with those issues when when engineers are asleep. I think it's fantastic. Really, really cool. Really cool. So what's just final? I think we should probably round this up now. But in terms of the future for Virsae, this isn't a product; it's baked into the core platform. And you mentioned right at the start that lots of development cycles happening at Virsae. But what do you anything coming up this year that we should look out for?
Well, we're actually again, it's about exposing our capabilities and getting the uptake from customers. And we are right now looking at how we take this to market. And one of the concepts that's come forward is virtual engineer can be made available commercially, just like a flesh and blood engineer. So maybe over the top of everything we do now, if we get the user interface really smooth, we may go forward and say, well, if you want to hire a virtual engineer off us, you engage on sort of the same basis as you would with a person. So sort of an annual salary, which would be, of course, massively reduced over a human, and go to market that way. So, humanize the entire thing, and including the human, including the commercial engagement. So those decisions are still up for grabs at the moment. We're working out how to do this, but our main objective is driving that uptake and making it easier and easier to use, and increasing the capability of that virtual engineer.
Superb. And if anyone watching or listening would like to find out more, I take it they can visit your website, virsae.com, and get in touch that way. Ross, thank you very much for jumping on the call today. I know it's very, very early where you are, and it's getting late where I am. So I'm going to wave you goodbye, but thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
It's great to talk to you, Rob.